Alright guys, so here we go, we're getting started, we're talking about the relationships again. Again, we're going to identify the relationship, we're going to build some equation from it, we're going to solve the equation. Those are our goals today. So first thing, these are your notes that I'm still passing out to you, they're right here in front of me, sorry. There's kind of some weird reference things on here too, Pastor. There's kind of some weird reference things. I had a hard time writing the angle symbol. Just say we're passing that. I had a hard time writing the angle symbol on here. So it looks like a less than symbol. I'm sorry. It is not a less than symbol. It's not supposed to be. It is an angle symbol. Okay? So it's supposed to be an angle symbol. I'm sorry that it looks like a less than symbol.
I can't do it.
What's on the board?
So like you have to
There's one person that has the wrong thing. There you go. I need that back. Okay, so the first one that we're looking at. What's the relationship here? How are these two related? They're vertical angles. Write that down. Vertical. Okay. What do we know about vertical angles? Everyone say it out loud. Vertical angles are congruent. Vertical angles are congruent. Okay? So congruent means these two are going to be equal to each other. Okay? So that means that the measure of angle 1 is going to be equal to the measure of angle 2. That's the way we should write this out. They shouldn't be less than symbols. It should be angle symbols like that. So if we know the measure of angle 1 is 27 degrees, what's going to be the measure of angle 2?
26.
27 degrees as well. Okay? Remember that that's what we're looking at. We're basically going to try finding the missing variable, find the angles of these special relationships. So the measure of angle 2 is equal to 27 degrees. You can circle that at the end. The M in front means measure of the angle 2. Okay? Number 2. What's this relationship? The best description. Best description. Best description is a linear pair. Okay? Linear pair, what do we know about the angles? What do they add up to? 180. So basically we know that the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 equals 180 degrees. Okay? We know this relationship exists. Okay? Now, what else did they tell us? What did they tell us specifically about this? Okay, so the measure of angle 2 is 87, so I write this in here, 87 degrees. Okay? So you need to pretend like this measure of angle 1 is like a variable. Okay? We're just going to leave this here. It's like an x. So x plus 87 equals 180. How do I solve for the x of the variable? Yeah, I subtract 87. So in your calculators, you're doing 180 minus 87, and you get 93 degrees. Does this make sense? That's hot. 93 degrees. That's hot. Okay. Number 3. It is pretty tight, isn't it? I like that. It's a protecting case. It's nice. Okay. Number 3. What's the relationship with these two angles? Vertical angles. You guys are noticing probably what we're doing. Vertical angles. Vertical angles are congruent. Vertical angles are congruent. Hopefully, if we say it enough times, it's going to be innate. It's going to be in our head. Vertical angles are congruent. Congruent means equal, right? So all we're going to do is we're going to set these two angles equal to each other. So we have x plus 12 equals 33. X plus 12 equals 33. How do I solve for x? I subtract 12 from both sides. Your algebra, geometry 1 teachers must have been super math geniuses, and you must have been awesome students. Thank you for learning so much stuff from them. This is great. That'd be 21, correct? X equals 21. You guys see what we're doing? First thing we're doing is we're identifying the relationship. We're building some equation. We're solving the equation. Can you do this? Can you handle it?
So I have a question.
Oh yeah, let me go back. Questions here.
So like the angle 1 is like x basically.
Yes, it means the measure of angle 1, and that's basically your variable. That's what you're going to be solving for here. That's correct.
So you're supposed to like know which number is what. Like, so I was supposed to know that that's 180. Like number 2.
The reason you know it's 180? It's because every linear pair are also supplementary angles. They're going to add up to 180. So the definition of it are supplementary angles, two angles that sum to 180. That's basically our definition that we wrote down. Two angles, 1 and 2, that sum add to 180. Okay. That's basically our definition, so that's why we were able to look at this and say sum to 180. Okay? Two angles that sum to 180. Okay? Number 4. What in the world is going on with number 4? What is that called? Okay, I think there's two different ways of doing this. I would say if this part right here is 90 degrees, it means this part here is 90 degrees. Okay? So what I'm going to look at is I'm hearing some people say in both ways here. I'm hearing some people say, okay, it's a linear triple. That's true. You could say 1, 2, 3 angles that all get out to 180. We'd be fine. Okay? There might be an easier way to do this though with smaller numbers. If we know this is 90 degrees and we know this is 90 degrees, why don't we just focus on this right side here? That's 90 degrees. So what's the relationship between these two? Yeah, those are going to be complementary angles. Yeah, you were. You could do it either way. It would still work out. These are complementary angles. Just these two angles right here are complementary angles. What do complementary angles add up to? 90 degrees. So we'll say x plus 48 equals 90. Does this make sense? You need to realize, hey, they're complementary angles. The definition of complementary angles is two angles, x, 48, that sum add to 90 degrees. How do we solve for x?
Minus 48 for this side.
You subtract 48 from both sides, that's totally 100% correct. X equals 42 degrees.
Oh, that was right.
Why don't you guys try number 5 on your own? Try number 5 on your own.
What else did you take? I didn't take anything.
Try number 5 on your own. We're playing the Panthers tonight in football. We're going to beat the Panthers tonight in football. You know what, though? Today, they might be learning the same thing. They might be learning the exact same thing as us. Are we going to beat them academically?
Yes.
Already.
Yeah. That's already happened.
Last year.
Physically,
That was last year. That was last
mentally,
year.
emotionally,
Spiritually, too.
financially.
Financially. I don't know about that. Okay. Number 5. Okay. Who wants to volunteer number 5? What do we do for number 5?
I don't know if I'm right.
Say, what do we do for number 5?
Are you sure?
Okay, they are a linear pair. That's perfect. Linear pair. You can write that down. Linear pair.
I did this wrong.
Well, me.
142 plus x equals 180. Then what'd you do? Subtracted 142 from both sides. X equals 38. How many people got 38 as their answer? I'm seeing tons of hands. That's awesome. Thank you for trying so hard today. I appreciate that. Hey, let's try number 6. Oh, yes, question. Everyone else try number 6.
I thought it was supplementary.
They are, but more specifically, they're also linear.
So I got it wrong, even though I got 38 as an answer.
Yep. This is the part that you're having to do in your head to identify it. If you wrote supplementary is true as well. Just like we were talking about at the start of class, a linear pair, well, all linear pairs are also adjacent. All linear pairs are also supplementary. Okay? The definition for a linear pair includes both supplementary and adjacent. You guys are trying number 6? Try number 6. Tucker, what'd you get for number 6? What'd you do? These are vertical angles. He wasn't even here yesterday, he knows their vertical angles. If he was facing off with a panther, he would totally be beating them right now. Verticals, okay. And so how do you set this thing up? First off, there's kind of an error on here. We'll call that angle 3. That would make much more sense for us, but that's okay. That's alright. Okay, well, yeah, that would probably help out a lot. How did we set this up? If this was the measure of angle 3, that's the measure of angle 2. What are we going to do? If they're vertical angles, what do we know about vertical angles? Vertical angles are, they're congruent, okay? So basically, what are we going to do? Silas, what do we do? I need to set up an equation. I don't have an equation to solve for x yet. What equation do I set up? Well, no, Silas, you're just not telling me. Okay, so you know that angle 2 and angle 3 are the same, right? They equal each other, right? You know what angle 2 is. You know what angle 3 is. Why don't we just set those two equal to each other? Okay, let's write it down. What would that look like if I set this equal to that? Okay, we know that, let me do it this way. Measure of angle 2 equals the measure of angle 3. Okay? Substitute something for the measure of angle 2. What do I know measure of angle 2 equals? 3x minus 7. Perfect. Okay? What's the measure of angle 3 equal to? 2x plus 1. So all we need to do, we need to write this equation down. Okay? So we need to write that equation down. We need to realize that relationship. And I'm sorry there was an error at the top here. I'm sorry that was a 2 as opposed to a 3 or 1, I guess is what it was. I'm sorry. It needed to be a 3 in order for this to even work.
Did you say? Oh, never mind.
So vertical angles are congruent. So we know the measure of angle 2 equals the measure of angle 3. So all we do is we set those two equations, those two expressions equal together, so they're an equation. Silas, you want to solve this for us? Added 7 to both sides. Minus 2x. Generally speaking, the way you're doing this is totally fine. Generally speaking, what we do is we always take care of the x's first, then take care of the numbers, but the way you did it, it worked out fine. The way that we do that is we just try to get it so the x's are positive, so we don't have to deal with negative numbers, then we work with the numbers. But you did fine. That's exactly right. How many people got x equals 8? Oh, yeah. That's awesome, guys. This is good. Okay. 2 more. Is this it? Is this all we have? Is there a backside? This is it, right? This is all we got. Okay? Angle PQR. A way to write this is angle PQR. Okay? If we say the measure of it, we have to put an M in front of it. The measure of angle PQR is 68 degrees. So where's that at? PQR. That's the whole thing, right? The whole thing is 68 degrees. What does this symbol mean? If we have one of those there and one of those there. What does that mean? Yeah.
That means that both angles are the same.
Okay, it means both of these angles. This angle right here is the same measurement as this angle right here. Okay? So what, if I was to give this a letter, if I said this was S, what is QS? What is ray QS? What is it called geometrically? I know we talked about this as one of our vocabulary terms. It bisects it, so we'll actually call this an angle bisector. Okay, this is kind of weird. Okay, this angle bisector. Okay, QS is an angle bisector. It's a ray that bisects this angle, makes these two the same. Okay, so all we know here is that the measure of angle PQS is going to equal the measure of angle RQS. Okay, we know that. So how do we figure that out with this? Okay. Maybe I should write this different. Hold on, let me do it this way. If I add these two together, let me do it this way. If we add them up, what are they going to be equal to? 68. Okay? And since these two are the same, since they're exactly the same, I can say, hey, this is like x, and this is like x. So basically I'm saying like, hey, 2x equals 68. Does that make sense? since these two are exactly the same, I could say something like, hey, 2x equals 68. How do I solve for x? Divided by 2, divided by 2. 34. Okay. So each one of those angles equals 34. That was kind of tough. That's kind of a weird one with the bisectors. Okay. It is pretty good. It's kind of a tough one. Good. That's good. Holy smokes, that's small. Okay. Number 8. Why don't you guys try number 8? What type of angles are these? Complementary. You go from there. They are complementary angles. You guys try to figure out how this works. Complementary angles. Complementary angles. You guys are working this out on your own. Complementary angles. Down here at 1019. Complementary angles. What complementary angles add up to be? 90 degrees. You took that one angle plus the other angle. What does it equal? 90 degrees. You combine the x's. You get 2x plus 6 equals 90. You subtracted 6 off of both sides. Let me write this down so it probably makes more sense if I write it down. We have x plus 12 plus x minus 6, that has to equal 90 degrees. Combine like terms, x and x gives us 2x, 12 and 6 gives us, or minus 6 gives us plus 6, equals 90. We subtract 6 off of both sides, that's 2x equals 84. We divide by 2, luckily 8 and 4, both of those are like 2. That should give us 42. Hey, let me ask you this. What is the measure of this angle right here? Is it 42? No, it's not 42. What is the measure of this angle? Isn't it 42 minus 6? What is that? 38, isn't it? Or 36? I'm sorry, 36 degrees. Okay? What's the measure of this angle up here? Well, it's 42 plus 12, isn't it? So what does that equal? 54. So this angle is 54, this angle is 36. Those two do add up to 90. It's a good way to check to make sure you got the right answer. Okay. Your homework, it's sitting right in front of you. How many problems are there? 18. Hey, numbers 1 through 6, doesn't that look really familiar what we did last night? Okay. I want you to use the figure. I want you to be able to name the angles using the angle symbol as well as the correct letters. Be careful with it. They're almost the exact same question. Be careful with it, all right? 1 through 6, same questions. And is it numbers 1 through 7 through 18? Does that look very similar to what we just did? Hopefully you have no questions on this. If you do, you guys can always come in and talk to me. There's about 4 or 5 minutes left in class. I would love it if you guys could start your assignment as I'm taking care of some paperwork.